Hi, I'm Christal, and today I just have a quick little review video to share with you because I was recently requested to do a review of the Swiff Audio WX-520, which is a stereo wireless in-ear monitor transmitting system. And this is a bit of a follow-up video to my previous one on the WX-510, which is Swiff's previous generation of this product. And this one is a similar system, but it is only mono. So that means your left and right channels are transmitting the same signal. Whereas with stereo, you can have your different left and right channels, and you can utilize panning if your sound signal is supporting that. So this one over here, I have a whole video about, and I still use this. It's been probably about a year or more using this thing. I basically just use this in my studio because if I'm practicing drums to a metronome, I really don't need a stereo panned click feed. And I liked that there were two transmitters, so I can give one to my student and I use one. And that works really well for drum lessons. But when I go out and gig, if possible, I would usually prefer to have a stereo feed. And the other thing about the 510 is it wasn't super portable. It's kind of heavy, and also there was no carrying case included. So that was one of my gripes about this the first time I did the review video for Swiff. So I'm really glad they addressed this in the second generation product because the transmitter is the case, which is fantastic, super easy to just toss into your bag, and you don't have to worry about losing the case because the case is the transmitter. So yeah, this entire thing just zips open here. And inside we have the receiver. This is the unit that you would plug your IEMs to and clip to your clothes with this clip over here. This is where you plug your IEMs into. And over here on the transmitter, these are the places where you would plug in either an XLR or a 1/4 inch for stereo. This is where you would plug a 1/4 inch for mono if that's something you have, so it can be used for either. This hole over here is the 3.5 mm stereo input, and this USB-C port over here is for charging the device. I haven't actually tested how long the charge lasts on this one, but it's never been an issue, and in between sets I just put the receiver back into the transmitter to charge, and it's never been a problem about running out of battery or anything like that. Over on the front of this device here, this is your master volume. This is the aux or line toggle, and this is your mono and stereo toggle, again depending on your input source. So to turn this on, similar to the 510, you just press this front button down for like 3 seconds or a bit less, and it turns green. Now it's transmitting, and then I hold down the front of this unit as well. Sorry, that was upside down. And now you can see it's on. So this over here tells you what channel it's transmitting on. The middle little triangle is your volume. This indicator here is the battery level. And on the bottom, if it's transmitting music or sound, you will see this meter jumping up and down. So for volume adjustment, you just need to scroll this wheel. It does take quite a bit of scrolling to change the volume level, but I'm kind of used to it by now, and I pretty much just set the volume to where it needs to be and then I don't touch it anymore. So it's not a huge issue, though they could probably make the scaling on that a lot better. One more thing, if you want to mute the device, just double tap pretty quickly and you can see the volume just changed to that little mute icon. Double tap again and now it is unmuted. So that's the quick mute function. I actually just picked up another receiver just in case because these things are so handy to have around, especially in like worship rehearsals. Sometimes at church I have an understudy who just needs to hear another copy of my mix and we might not have enough mix units, or in rehearsal settings sometimes there's just not enough IEM feeds for everyone, so it's convenient to have some of these around. And if you buy a separate receiver, it's not automatically paired. The one that comes with the receiver and the transmitter together in a bundle should be automatically paired, so you can just turn it on and use it straight away. But when you buy the new one, it's definitely not paired. So what you need to do is, instead of turning it on normally, I'm just going to turn this off first. You need to long press this for about 6 seconds. So I'm still not letting go until this logo happens. So this means that the device is looking for a transmitter to pair with. Now, instead of having this on normally, I'm just going to turn it off first. And now I'm going to hold down the power button on the transmitter, again for about 6 seconds, until you see that circle turn red. So once this is blinking, it will pair, and now you can see this is selecting the first channel. So that little white icon is on the first channel. This has paired successfully, and if I press this again, it reverts to normal. Right now it's showing me the battery levels, so this is about 50% charge. And if I tap it again, it shows me that it is on channel 1. And if I tap it one more time, it's now switched to channel 2. And if you look over here, this has also changed to the second bar. So one tap to put it into channel mode, and then tap again, now it's on channel 3. This should also be, yep, on that third little setting there. So you can actually have up to 4 of these on stage, and theoretically you should be fine to transmit 4 different mixes from 4 of these devices. And each of these can take probably a couple receivers. I'm not really sure how many. So far, the maximum I've tried is 2. The only time that I have experienced dropouts with these is at my church when there are roving video cameras, because I suspect that whatever they're using for their video cameras is on the same wireless network as these. So I do get some dropouts if I try and use it there. When I've been playing at smaller venues where I don't have cameras in my face, there has been 0 issues with dropouts anywhere at all when I play at like bars or small concert venues. Yeah, I've had no problems with these whatsoever. They have been super stable. Oh yes, just make sure that if you do get one of these, you are using the correct cable type to transmit your sound. So for example, this here, this is a TRS cable that can transmit stereo. This is an instrument cable, a TS cable that will only transmit mono. So if you're trying to get a stereo output from a source that transmits stereo, just make sure you're using the correct cable type, because if you use one of these, that is a mono cable, even if you plug it into the stereo output, you're not going to get any sound. One last thing, if you have both the 510 and 520, it can be a bit confusing because the receivers look absolutely identical, but there is one way to tell them apart, and that's to look at the bottom. The 510 just says Swiff Audio, and the 520 does say WX-520 right at the bottom there. So this is one way you can tell them apart, because these will not work with their respective these will only work with their respective transmitters. So you can't just use the 510 receivers with a 520 transmitter and expect to get stereo, for example. So just make sure that you have the right one selected if you do have both of these. I really like that the logos are pretty much out of the way at the bottom of the device. I really think that's about all I have to say about this product, so I hope that review was useful to you. Again, this was in no way sponsored. I picked up this product on my own, and I've just been using it as a convenient way to get a wireless in-ear monitor feed going. So pick one up if you want, pick up an alternative if you want to, but I just really like how these are designed. I like the aesthetics of them, and they do what they're supposed to do, so I have no issues with that. I hope this video was useful to you. If you have any questions about my experience using this product so far, just feel free to ask, and I will attempt to answer them to the best of my abilities. All the best with your music, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!